Okay. Hare Krishna, Neha. Good to see you after so long.
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
How are you? All well?
Yes.
Very nice. Nice to see familiar faces. Okay, so who's going to glorify today?
Hi.
Oh, wonderful. Please, ready when you are. Please go ahead.
Please excuse any mistakes that I made. It is the first time that I'm saying this. So it is said in the Bhagavad Gita that whatever is coming to us, we should have some level of contentment towards it. Only if we are content, then alone will we feel a sense of gratitude towards it. If we are discontent, then how can we possibly ever feel grateful? So this is the first requisite for feeling a feeling of gratitude. Gratitude is the stepping stone towards building happiness. It helps us realize and also appreciate everything that we have, and also makes us understand that we should not take everything for granted. So firstly, I would like to thank the great spiritual master, Srila Prabhupada, for the compassion and the feelings that he felt towards us humans and all humanity in general, which made him make sacrifices and also made him take so many efforts to make available all the spiritual knowledge that he had. Then, of course, I would like to thank Krishna that out of the 84 lakh species, he has selected me and given me the human form, because it is possible to do bhakti and to do seva only when one is in the human form. Also, I would like to thank him, Krishna, for having chosen me to do his bhakti. If he did not choose me, even if I wanted to do bhakti, it would not be possible. I thank him for everything that I have, the air that I breathe, the food on my table, the loving family, friends that I am surrounded with. I, in general, am thankful for everything that he has given me. So, I just wrote all this down because I had to put it into a proper perspective. So I had to write it down.
So beautifully you mentioned so many. Jai Srila Prabhupada, isn't it?
Thank
So grateful to him for all the sacrifices. Otherwise, we wouldn't be sitting here so easily reading something like Srimad Bhagavatam, Thank you so much, Anjali, and wonderfully said, beautifully said. Thank you so much. This is amazing. Yes, so we start with our first verse, our journey. Is it possible to make me the co-host so that I can share? Can I share? Yes, I can share. Yeah. Okay, just one second. Okay, can we all see this? Yeah. So whenever you have any questions, please stop me and ask. Yeah, I don't mind. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So we're supposed to chant prayers before we start Bhagavatam. And these are the 3 prayers. Yeah. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatam Vyasam Tato Jayam Udirayet. Srinvatam Swakatha Krishna Punya Shravana Kirtanaha हृदयन्तस्तो हि अभद्राणि विधुनोति सुहृत्सताम् नष्टप्रायेष्वभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवत्युत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्ठिके. Before any Bhagavatam class, we chant this. Yes. So we start with the first verse. You all can see this, the first verse? Yeah. So this also starts with Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Janmadasya Yato Anvayaditarataschateeshvabhignaswarat Tene Brahma Hridaya Adikavaye Muhyanti Yat Suryaha Tejo Vani Mridam Yatha Vinimayo Yatra Trisargam Risha Dhamna Svena Sada Nirashtakuhkam Satyam Param Dhimahi. Please try to memorize it. It takes a little while, but you can memorize it. Can someone read the translation? Yeah?
Shall I read, Mataji?
Yes, please.
O my Lord Sri Krishna, Son of Vasudeva, O all-pervading personality of Godhead, I offer my respectful obeisances unto you. I meditate upon Lord Sri Krishna because he is the absolute truth and the primeval cause of all causes of the creation, sustenance, and destruction of the manifested universes. He is directly and indirectly conscious of all manifestations, and he is independent because there is no other cause beyond him. It is he only who first imparted the Vedic knowledge unto the heart of Brahmaji, the original living being. By him, even the great sages and demigods are placed into illusion, as one is bewildered by the illusory representations of water seen in fire, or land seen on water. Only because of him do the material universes, temporarily manifested by the reactions of the three modes of nature, appear factual, although they are unreal. I therefore meditate upon him, Lord Sri Krishna, who is eternally existent in the transcendental abode, which is forever free from the illusory representations of the material world. I meditate upon him, for he is the absolute truth.
Jay. Vyasdev here is giving his, he's paying his obeisances. And these are his pranam mantras. So the first three shlokas is the pranam mantras given by Vyasdev before he actually starts narrating the Bhagavatam. Any scripture, if you see any scripture, you will see that the first few verses are pranam mantras. Even if you see Chaitanya Charitamrit, you will see the first 15 to 20 shlokas are just pranam mantras by Krishnaraj Kavidas Goswami. And here he's talking about three. So how do we understand it is the first shloka is the sambandha, the second is the abhideya, and the third is prayojana. I'm sure you all are aware of these terms. Anyone not aware? Everyone's aware, right? So sambandha is talking, before you establish a sambandha, a relationship, what do you need to do? You need to know about the person. So here, Srila Vyasadeva is being extremely emphatic and he goes straight to the point. He talks about who is the absolute. Yeah, I'm just going to go forward. So the Sambandha Gyan, yeah, he's talking about. And what was the last word in the translation? It said absolute truth. So who is the absolute truth here? He's establishing, because we mustn't get confused by other commentaries by other people, and we mustn't wonder who is the absolute truth. There should be no confusion. So he says, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. He's calling Vasudev. So here he is giving very emphatically, he's giving straight away that who is the absolute truth. It's Vasudev. Vasudev is no Krishna, some other Krishna, a boy named Krishna. No, it is the son of Vasudev. Vasudev is one who belongs to Vasudev. So who belongs? The son. Who is that? Krishna. So if you see over here in the picture, you will see that Yashoda has Krishna on the lap, and that is Nanda Maharaj, right? Why do we say Vasudev here? Okay, the first expansion, the Chaturvyuha, is Vasudev. But here is when he was also named Vasudev. If you know the story of Krishna, the naming ceremony was done in the cow shed, hidden by Garg Muni. And what did he say? One of the names for Krishna was Vasudev. Yeah, so in a way, he was hinting also to Nanda Maharaj that this is the same boy who is Vasudev. But Nanda Maharaj and Yashoda never thought of anything else except their. So when we say Nanda Nandana, it is Krishna. When we say Vasudev, also it is Krishna, son of Nanda Maharaj, because he was also called Vasudev, being very close to his friend Vasudev. So absolute truth. So Srila Prabhupada says that the absolute supreme truth is Satyam Param, right? He is the Satyam Param. So Vyasdev here is offering his obeisances to the Satyam Param, the absolute supreme truth, not any relative truth. Yeah, everyone offers obeisances to someone, right? We salute someone, we submit before someone. So Srila Prabhupada gives a very nice examples. One is that supposing we are going on the road and we break a signal, whom do we have to pay obeisances to? We pay obeisances to the constable, right? The police, traffic person. Why? Because he stops you and you have to obey the rules. How can you avoid obeying the rules? So therefore, there you do, no, you, sir, please maaf kar do, fine le lo, kitna chahiye, So saying that we do that, but do we believe in God? Yes, a lot of people don't believe in God, but they will offer obeisances to someone who is in a higher power than you. So relative truth means that here it is given Tejo Vari Mridam. Yes, can you see in the fourth line? It is Tejo Vari Mridam Yatha Vinimayo Yatra Trisarga Amrisha. So Tejo Vari Mridam is we are offering obeisances to the temporary manifestation. Tejo Vari Mridam Vinimaha. Tejo means fire. When we read the translation, it was mentioned over there. Tejo is fire, Vari is Mridam. Sorry, Vari is water, Mridam. Mrid means earth. So when you take earth, mix it with water, put it in fire, then you grind it, then you bake it, it becomes a brick. From the brick, you get a building or a house. That is relative truth. That's not absolute truth. Where do you get the earth, fire, and water from? From the absolute truth, right? Nothing is created by us. Yes, we make a building, we put up things, we create things, but who is the absolute creator? Krishna, right? So then we take ownership for it. This is my house. This is my building. I live in this building. You know, when you go in front, supposing it's an apartment building, you go in front of the building, oh, this is my building is here. In that building, you have one apartment. You don't own the entire building. I mean, some people do who are extremely rich. But then you say, this is my town. You know, mera ghar aa gaya. When you go back home from a holiday, the moment you land in the airport itself, you said, I'm home. Right? So this is all relative truth. You are relating yourself with something which is not permanent, which is temporary. So Vyasadeva here is offering obeisances to the supreme absolute truth. Satyam param dhimahi, he says. You know, so there is no truth beyond that. Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, it is 7.7. Matta parataram nanyat kinchid asti dhananjaya. Right? Beyond me, there is nothing superior. Mai sarvam idam protram sutre gani manaiva. Right? So, mani ganaiva. So, what does he say? He says that everything is like a string of pearls. There is nothing superior than me. So Vyasadeva is offering his obeisances. The first thing he does is offer obeisances. One thing you can learn here is whenever we start something, we should always first think of the Lord and offer obeisances. So the Lord means he's the controller, right? So we see that one is controlled by someone else, but no one can control God. He's the source of all emanations. So he is the supreme cause, Sarva Karana Karanam. In Brahma Samhita, it says that he is Sarva Karana Karanam. So for example, I am caused by my father. My father is caused by his father. If you go back, it all leads to Krishna, who is the supreme father. So we cannot say he's the ultimate father. We cannot say that, everything is created by science. Science cannot create. So Lord Brahma, so if we go back, Lord Brahma is called Pitama. Why? Because he's the original father of the universe. He's the first created being, and then he got many children. So all the living entities, they are born from Brahma, and he is called the Srishti Karta. But he is the father of the material world. But he himself, how was he born? There's so many Brahmas, right? So every universe has a Brahma, and every Brahma is born from Garbhodakshayi Vishnu, right? So, but all the living beings come from Lord Brahma. So when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu went to South India on the tour, in the temple over there, he got the Brahma Samhita. So he recovered the Brahma Samhita in the Adi Keshav temple in South India. And this was handwritten. In those days, it was all handwritten. And then he established that Brahma Samhita was written by Brahma. And what is it? A summary of Srimad Bhagavatam, which establishes the point that Srimad Bhagavatam also is eternal. So Brahma Samhita is a summary of Bhagavatam. Bhagavatam is the whole, and this is the summary. So Shabda Brahman. So this is called Shabda Brahman because it comes from, who's the Brahman? The supreme Brahman is Krishna. So it's a part of him. And the literatures, how is it given? Tene Brahma Hridaya. The second line which says Tene Brahma Hridaya. So who's giving it to him? So the Vedic literature was transferred to Brahma's heart, Hirida. It was given to Brahma's heart. Brahma was alone. When he was born, he was alone. He could not see Krishna, Krishna exists, right? And Krishna is in everyone's heart. Ishvara Sarva Bhutanam Hrida Deshe Arjuna Tishtati. Yeah, he's there in everyone's heart as Paramatma. So he's the Chaitya Guru of everyone. Right? So as the Chaitya Guru, as the spiritual master, what did he do? He gave all the knowledge, Tene Brahma Hridaya, into Brahma's heart. Into Brahma's heart, he gave everything. So therefore, he transferred all the knowledge into Brahma's heart. So again, this establishes the fact that he is the cause of all causes. So janma dasya yato. So Vedanta Sutra says that the absolute truth is the original cause of all causes. But scientists, they cannot find anything, right? It's always a mystery for them. So they just don't know how the world was born, so how the world was created. So they have their own concoctions, right? So Janma Dyasya Yato, he's the primeval cause of all causes of creation, sustenance, and destruction. So what happens when everything is created? It comes out of Karnodakshaya's body, and then when everything is destroyed, annihilated, it goes back into Karnodakshaya Vishnu, right? Till the next Brahma, till the next creation is done. So that is the meaning of Janma Desya Yato. Anvayad itaratas charteshva abhigna. They are directly and indirectly conscious of all manifestation. How directly? Because it comes from Krishna. How indirectly? Because it comes from Brahma. Who is the secondary creator? Brahma. Sometimes there are many manifestations or creations which come from us, like I talked about the house, the building, or even an art project. But we are indirect creators. We are not the primary source, because who gives you the raw material? Everything comes from Krishna, correct? Oops. Sorry, just one second. Yeah, so we did this. Swarat. Now they talk about Krishna here being independent because there's no other cause beyond it. We all are dependent on someone, but Krishna is not dependent on anyone. When he creates the spiritual world and the material world, he just creates it from his mind. So therefore, he doesn't have to depend on anyone. But Brahma is also called the Shrishtikarta, right? He's also the creator. So you would ask that, but Brahma also created, but whom did he depend on? He depended on Krishna. How? Because when Brahma came out, was born, there was no one. He was alone. He didn't know what to do. So what did he do? He waited for the spiritual master to give him all the knowledge in his heart. All the Vedic knowledge was given into Brahma's heart. So we will also learn in the next verse, what does the Vedas contain? The second verse. Yeah. So why, even though Brahma is called the original being, he is not the origin of the manifestations. Muhyanti yat Surya, even great sages and demigods are placed under illusion. Why? Because Krishna, they are born from Krishna. All the 7 sages and the sages before that, we will come in the next verse, we will learn that. All the devatas, everyone is born from Krishna. So therefore, they are under illusion. That is the nature of the material world. Tejo vari mridam yatha, as one is bewildered by illusory representations of water seen on fire and land seen on water. This is mirage, right? When we go in the desert over here, we see that you see suddenly water on land, but actually it's just an illusion. It's because of the sun and the reflections, right? So even the sages cannot understand him. because that is the nature of the material illusion. So therefore, Krishna is Swarat, he is independent. Vinimayo yatra trisarga amrisha. Only because of him the material universe is temporarily manifested by the reaction of the three modes of nature appear factual, although they are unreal. Yeah, the entire material world is made by the three modes, sattva, rajas and tamas. So it is as though they are real. You think you're living a reality, but you are in a dream. It is unreal. This is not the nature of the spiritual world. This is just an illusion. Dhamna svena sada nirashta kuhakam. Eternally existent in that transcendental abode, which is free from illusion. So here Krishna, if you had read the puppet, talks about how Srila Prabhupada talks about how eternally, when you establish a relationship with Krishna, you can eternally live in any of the relationships in the spiritual world, which is forever free from illusion. So what does Vyasadeva establish here? Material world is full of illusion, spiritual world is free from illusion, right? Secondly, we are always in illusion because we are under the three modes, and the spiritual world does not have illusion. Therefore, we can understand that it does not have the three modes. It is transcendental, above the three modes. So I therefore meditate on absolute truth. Satyam Param Dhimahi. If you see, this is the summary of the first verse. What is the purpose of the Srimad Bhagavatam? So what is absolute truth? So now, if you understand, who is Krishna? Who is Krishna? He is the absolute truth, right? Which means that he is the primary cause. He is the primeval cause of everything, spiritual, material, everything. He is the one who knows everything. Even the rishis and the devatas are under illusion. He is Swarat. He is independent. He is the one who gives all the knowledge. So therefore, he enlightens everyone with knowledge. Even Brahma had to wait for him to give him knowledge and then start creation, right? We are always under the bewilderment because we think we are Ishwars, we are controllers, we are owners, but we are not. And the eternal abode, right? So he offers his obeisances, he meditates on Krishna. Again, what is established here? That Krishna is a person. He is not impersonal. He is not just light. He is not just, sound. He is a person. Yeah. And he has three features, Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagwan. This is there in the purport if you had read, which will come later in the first chapter and second chapter. There is a verse for it. So we establish, a living entity establishes a relationship with Krishna because we are part and parcels of Krishna. Yeah. When we came to the material world, our relationship was broken. So through this, what we need to be extremely grateful to Vyasadeva also for writing it down for us, because we wouldn't have ever memorized this or learned by sound. Secondly, Shukadev Goswami for so nicely giving us in such a way that as you progress in your Srimad Bhagavatam, you will re-establish your relationship with Krishna. So that is how you will develop chapter by chapter. So therefore, Srila Prabhupada always emphasizes to go from the first canto to the end in sequence so that we progress spiritually instead of going straight away to the end and then getting bewildered. Yeah. Any questions till now? Or we can go to the next verse as you wish. Any questions? Anything you didn't understand? Yes? No? Okay, should we go ahead?
Sorry, I just had a question.
Yes.
So the Brahma Samhita is part of Bhagavatam?
It's a summary of the Bhagavatam. Samhita. What is the meaning of Samhita? Samhita
Okay,
is
summary.
advice. Yes.
Okay, okay. And you
And why?
said
Yeah. There are different Samhitas. There
Okay.
is Krishna Samhita. So Brahma wrote this Samhita, so it's called the Brahma Samhita. And what we
Okay.
are learning is just part of it, one chapter of it. There are many other chapters which was not recovered, but one was.
Okay. And you said it was recovered from the Adikeshava temple, Adikeshava Perumal temple. I'm just curious, where is that temple in Tamil Nadu?
It's what is that place called? Forget the name. I'll find out and I'll let you know. I'm
Sure.
forgetting the name now. Yeah.
Sure,
I'll
Mataji.
find
Yeah,
out.
thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. Anything else? Okay, should we go ahead? So one request, all of y'all should try to memorize these verses. It seems very, very difficult, but it's not. It's very easy. Yeah. Okay. So second verse. Dharma projita kaitavotra paramo nirmatsaranam satam vedyam vastavam matruvasta shivadam tapatrayonmulanam Srimad Bhagavate Mahamuni Krite Kim va Pararishvaraha Sadyo Hritya Avarudhyate Trakritibihi Sushrusubhistachanat. So, can I request someone to read the translation, please?
Hare Krishna Mataji, shall I read?
Yes, please. Thank you.
Completely rejecting all religious activities which are materially motivated, this Bhagavad Puran propounds the highest truth, which is understandable by those devotees who are fully pure in heart. The highest truth is reality distinguished from illusion for the welfare of all. Such truth uproots the threefold miseries. This beautiful Bhagavatam, compiled by the great sage Vyasadeva in his maturity, is sufficient in itself for God realization. What is the need of any other scripture? As soon as one attentively and submissively hears the message of Bhagavatam, by this culture of knowledge, the Supreme Lord is established within his heart.
Yes. So, this is the Abhideya verse. Now, what is Abhideya? Abhideya means the process. Sambandha means relationship, knowing the person. Now, here it gives you Abhideya. What is the process of what? Everything we are doing here is to attain Krishna, right? So, what is the process of attaining Him? Dharma projita kaitavo, yeah, is completely rejects materially motivated religion. Let's look at this. So Srila Prabhupada in the purport talks about 4 primary subjects in dharma, right? Which is dharma, artha, kama, and moksha. If you all have read the purport, I hope you all did, talks about dharma, artha, kam, and moksha. So these are the namely 4 primary subjects or pious activities, which are dharma, pious activities, economic development, artha, kama, satisfaction of the senses, and finally is liberation from material bondage. Correct? So now, what is the ultimate aim in doing all this? Is liberation. So if you're not doing all the things which lead you to liberation, then there's no use. You're wasting your human life. Anjali very, very nicely in her gratitude spoke about or thanked for her human form, for the human life. Yes, Anjali? You did. So, but if you do not go from dharma, artha, kama and moksha, ultimate aim is moksha, which is liberation, then you are not doing what you need to do when you are in this human form. You are in this material bondage. So we are all conditioned in every way, right? We can experience as soon as we are embodied in this material body, immediately we become conditioned, right? So for example, Srila Prabhupada gives a very nice example, like if you're walking in the park and there are ducks and swans in a pond, what happens when you try to go near, if it's a small, when you try to go near the pond, what happens? The ducks immediately dive into the water, right? It goes right into the water. Why? Because the duck thinks it is safe in the water. And if someone maybe pushes me into the water, what will I think? I will protest. I will try to stop myself because I'm scared of drowning, right? So a duck is taking shelter in the water, but that same water I am scared of. So what does this mean? This means that in this material world, because we are conditioned in a certain way, we take shelter in things which are actually makes no sense to us, right? We are conditioned in such a way. So a liberated soul, what is a liberated soul? Example, like Narad Muni. Narad Muni is traveling in space because he is liberated. He is not conditioned. But we are conditioned, so we cannot travel in space. And we need, if we have to travel into space, we need the help of a machine, right? On our own, we cannot. We cannot. So this is the conditional life. You know, anywhere you go within the in this universe, in this material universe, there are so many innumerable universes, right? Coming out of Vishnu's body. And every universe has, or every planet has a different climatic condition, right? It is conditioned in that way. So just like we find that the moon has a different climate condition than the earth, right? And the sun probably is different. The Venus is different. Mars is different. Every planet is different. But that is the beauty of Krishna's creation, right? That is the beauty, that probably that person living in that planet is conditioned properly to live in that planet. But we are conditioned in this way. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur sings this very nice, Keshava Tua Jagat Vichitra. He says, my dear Lord, your Vichitra does not mean weird. Huh? Vichitra means he has Vichitra, varieties. He says, Keshav, oh Keshav, your creation has so many varieties. We still haven't discovered all varieties of plant life or even bacteria. We still, right? Now, every time the COVID keeps coming out in newer forms, it is a variety, isn't it? So Krishna's material world is variety. And so what do we need? We are trying to get liberated from these conditions. So dharma, basically religion has four: dharma, artha, kama and moksha. What are the four pillars of dharma? Now, we have to follow dharma, artha, kama and moksha. If we have to reach moksha, liberation, we have to follow according to Vedic injunctions. So param dharma, highest truth, is revealed only to a person who is nirmat saranam satam, a person satam who is nirmat saranam, free from envy. We've learned in Bhagavad Gita also, right? He says, Arjun, I'm giving you this knowledge because you are anasuya way, you are free from envy. So here again it is establishing this point that Param Dharma, the highest truth, Krishna consciousness, is revealed to a person who is free from envy. So if we go from Dharma, Artha, Kama to liberation, it's going to take a long time because you have to follow Vedic injunctions in a very methodical and long way. You go through it. So if you dovetail all your activities in Krishna consciousness, it is the same thing. Right? For example, what are the 4 pillars of Dharma? So Dharma has 4 pillars, right? Which is Satyam, Shaucham, Tapa, and anyone knows the 4th one? Satyam is truthfulness, Shaucham is cleanliness, Tapa is austerity. I always forget. I always remember 3.
Is it humility? Is it humility?
Mercy. Mercy.
Mercy. Yes, I was waiting
Okay.
for Shaga's mercy. Mercy. So the 4th is, so we have these 4 pillars of Dharma, which is the same 4 regulative principles we have to follow in Krishna consciousness. Right? Satyam, truthfulness, no gambling. Mercy, no meat eating. Shaucham, no illicit sex. And Tapa, austerity, no alcohol, no intoxications. Because when you have to do austerities, you need to be in control. So you can't take intoxicants and be out of control. So everybody thinks that, oh, Srila Prabhupada has given these 4 regulative principles. Oh, why? What is this? But that was the 4 pillars of Dharma, which has been coming right from Satya Yuga. He just gave exact meaning to it. He said, don't do these things because these are the 4 things which afflict Kali Yuga. You will see as we go in the first canto, how Kali came and established himself in these 4, exactly these 4 things. So why the Vedic civilization is based on this is so that we can reach liberation. So Nirmat Saranam Satam, when you are non-envious, free from envy. How can you be free from envy? If you bring all your activities into Sattva Gun, in the mode of goodness, then you will be free from envy. Passion and Rajas and Tamas, passion and ignorance gives rise to a lot of negative qualities. Anger, jealousy, hatred, so many things. So a person who is fully satisfied in performing Krishna's service, who is engaged in devotional service, he will have no taste for mundane sense gratification, and therefore he is non-envious towards everyone. Yeah, you have to engage yourself. And how to engage yourself is revealed in the Bhagavatam. How? So it is a step by step. So Vedyam Vastavam Atra Vastu Shivadam. It describes more about the absolute truth. Vedyam Vastavam Atra Vastu. What is the Vastu here? Vastu means subject. Subject. What is the subject matter here in the Bhagavatam is none other than Krishna. Everything is about Krishna, for Krishna, by Krishna, everything. So that is everything revolves around Krishna. So he is the Vastu here. All the emanations, all the leelas, everything. And it describes about his spiritual world, about the material world, about creation, maintenance. So this is seeing Krishna through the eyes of Bhagavatam. Now Bhagavatam itself is non-different from Krishna, right? So we will see that also. I'll show you in the end. So here, if you see in red, Maya, what is Maya? To see anything independent of Krishna. So what is Krishna consciousness? Is every activity you do to put Krishna into it, And when you don't put any Krishna into it, then it is Maya. It is not Krishna consciousness. That's the simple way of putting it in a sentence. Shivadam tapatrayon moolanam. Shiva actually means auspicious. What is auspicious over here? Shivadam was, what is the word? Shivadam, for the welfare of all. Therefore, it is auspicious. Tapatrayon moolanam. There are threefold miseries, right? Anyone can tell me what are the threefold miseries?
Like one that is caused by our mind and body, that is self-inflicted.
Correct.
One that is caused by others, and the last one is natural calamities or catastrophes.
Excellent. Fantastic. Anyone can tell me Sanskrit words? Anyone knows that?
Adi, Adhyatmik, Adibhautik, and Adidevik.
Fantastic. Excellent. So when you see everything in connection to the absolute truth, if you keep Krishna as your vastu in your life, the center of your life, then tapatrayon moolanam, which means that it uproots the threefold material miseries. It uproots. How? It's like you understand yourself. When you know your position as a living entity, who are you? You are Jiva, you are a part and parcel of Krishna, you belong to the spiritual world, you don't belong here, you have to go back. Then what happens? You don't mind whatever happens here. You're saying, forget it, anyway, temporary, it is temporary, let me just get out of here. I'll do everything. If you understand that your only shelter is Krishna, just like Narad Muni, just like even Lord Brahma understands that their only shelter is Krishna, then you will not even think about whatever happens to you. Again, it is temporary. Okay, material miseries become insignificant because you see everything in connection with Krishna. Miseries of life is extinguished. Now, a lot of people think that when we say tapatrayon moolanam, that the miseries of life is extinguished, you will no longer have miseries. Kuch nahi hoga. Nothing is going to happen to you. No, it doesn't mean that. Because what is the result of your karmas and the collective karma of this planet will happen. If there is a flood or an earthquake or something, it will happen, right? It's not that it might affect you, it might not affect you. It is just that you will no longer react to it. You will no longer worry or mind it. You will just take shelter in Krishna. Krishna, supposing there's an earthquake suddenly over here. Krishna, I think of Krishna, I take shelter in Krishna. If he wishes, I will live. If he doesn't wishes, I will die. If I die, what is the loss? I'm going to him after all. Right? So it will no longer affect you is what it means by miseries of life will be extinguished. These threefold miseries will no longer make any difference in your life. You will not react to it or mind it. You will go on. Come what may, come hail, come storm, come anything. My world is around my Krishna. Whatever he wishes. Who cares, right? That is what your understanding will be. Srimad Bhagavate Mahamuni Krite. So here Vyasadeva talks. Mahamuni. Who is the Mahamuni here? Vyasadeva. Krite. Written. So here, I think in the purport also, Srila Prabhupada mentions about a fake Vapodev or someone who a lot of people think he wrote it. Very clearly, Srila Vyasadeva has written that I have written this. Why is he announcing this? Because he is also an incarnation. In the 3rd chapter, you will see that he is also an incarnation of the Lord, the literary incarnation. Kimva Parer. Srimad Bhagavatam immediately takes us to the highest realization. Right? Vedeshcha sarver aham eva vedyo, 15:15. What is the need of any other literature? So everybody talks about Srimad Bhagavatam being written separately. Was it mentioned earlier? Was it there in the other Puranas or not? No. Srimad Bhagavatam or Bhagavad Puran, Mahapuran was mentioned in Matsya Puran. Matsya Puran is the oldest Puran, and in that very clearly it is mentioned that about Bhagavatam and how it contains only devotional service, and how so there are so many Puranas, right? We last time talked about 18 Puranas, and from each Purana Bhagavatam is mentioned a little bit in each Purana. So it is not that it is a separate Quran, it was written later, it was a concoction. No, it is there right from the first Quran, Matsya Puran also. So Kim Va Parer is, what is the meaning of it? What is the need of any other scripture? Kim means what? What is the need? Ishvara Sadyo Hidya Avarudhyate. The Supreme Lord is established within his heart at once. By hearing Srimad Bhagavatam, the devotee becomes fully aware of Krishna in the heart. That is a Paramahamsa stage. So we have to reach that stage. Srila Prabhupada mentions in one of his lectures that one of his disciples asked him, but Srila Prabhupada, you have realized everything, so therefore it is easy for you. He's saying, no, you just read my books and you will also become a Paramahamsa. There is nothing that only I will become, only someone else will. Every one of us, by reading Bhagavatam, by reading purports, can become a Paramahamsa, like Srila Prabhupada. So a devotee who is non-envious, a devotee is fully awake of Krishna being in his heart, and devotee is fully aware of his relationship with Krishna. Sorry, one second. And what happened? He becomes non-envious, and therefore the entire purport of the Bhagavatam is revealed to him. So as you advance, you start clearly seeing everything, whether it is mobile, immobile. You see Krishna in everything. Kriti shubhis tatshanat. As soon as one attentively and submissively hears Srimad Bhagavatam, what happens? At that moment, he realizes Krishna. Kriti means pious, and Shushrubhis means eager to hear. That is very important. Shushrubhis is very important. You have to desire, you have to be eager. Not that someone is forcing you. Did you? No, you have to be eager. What has Srila Prabhupada written? Oh, what's going to happen next? What is the next? What's coming up? Oh, I didn't read today. Let me read a little bit at least. That is very important. So when we talk about dharma, artha, kama, and moksha, there are 4 kinds. There are 5 kinds of liberation, right? There are different types of liberation. 5 kinds, yeah. One is sayujya, sarupya, salokya, shashti, and samipya. Yeah. So these are the 5 kinds of liberation which is awarded to us. Out of which we devotees, we don't even look at sayujya. Sayujya means merging. That is merging with the Brahman. We don't even look at that because we don't want to merge. We believe in the personal form. Sarupya. Sarupya is like in all the people in Vaikuntha have the same form as Lord Vishnu. They are 4-handed, Vishnu Duta. So anyone who goes to Vaikuntha, they have the same roop of the Lord. They have 4-handed Vishnu form. Salokya, you can live in the same planet as the Lord. Sarshti, you have the same opulence as the Lord. Yeah. And then Samipya, you can be close to him and serve him. So out of which Samipya is what is the most we hanker for. Okay, any questions? No, right? Okay, let's finish this. Pibata Bhagavatam Rasamalayam. So what is Vyasadeva saying here? He's inviting you to relish the Bhagavatam. You take it in, you relish it. Rasam alayam. Rasam means, absolute anand in it. You just enjoy it. Because, why? What is the reason? Nigama kalpataro. Galitam phalam shuka mukad amrita dravya samritam. So what is Nigama kalpataro? Nigama means Vedas. Another word for Vedas is Nigama. And kalpataro means desire fruit. Now you can receive all kinds of knowledge from the Vedas. Everything. That's why it's called a kalpataru, a desire. Meaning all kinds of knowledge, meaning political, scientific, or medical, everything you can get from the four Vedas. Music, that also. Like Ayurveda. Ayurveda is from the Vedas. Then there is Dhanurveda, which talks about fighting, arms, Dhanur Vidya. Then there is something called Kapot Veda. Kapot means to fly. So you get the knowledge of how to fly. Kapot also means pigeons. So pigeons, as in how to breed pigeons, how to train them, how to make them messengers. That is also there in the Vedas. Then there is called Akash Yanam, how to build aircrafts, how to build a house, how to rob a house, how to, all formations of the army. So Vedas have everything. So therefore it is called a kalpataru. And you can derive any kind of knowledge from it. But Bhagavatam is the fruit. Phalam, it's the fruit. Now in a tree, when you go to a tree, which is the best part of the tree? The fruit. Right? If you go to the mango tree, you want to take the mango, and that is the ripe mango. You don't want the, what will you do with a leaf or a branch or a root? The best part of it, even if you have uses for it, the best part of it is the mango and the ripe mango, right? So that is what Vyasadeva is comparing Bhagavatam to. That Bhagavatam is the ripe fruit of the Kalpataru. And why is it even more sweet? Because it is Shukha Mukad Amrita Dravya Samritam. So if there is a ripe mango, which is the sweetest mango, and it is pecked by a parrot, Shukha means parrot, the red beak of the parrot, that means that mango becomes even more sweeter. So here Shukha is Shukadev Goswami, and he has given so beautifully narrated the Bhagavatam poetically, and not just like a parrot. He heard it from his father Vyasadeva, but he didn't just say it like a Shuka, like a parrot, but he said it like nectar. So he's saying this is the fruit ripened in the Kalpataru tree, and it is very, very delicious. So therefore, relish it, understand it, relish it. So the 4 Vedas and the 18 Puranas and the 108 Upanishads, all these have no match against this. And who is saying this? Vyasadeva himself, who has written all these things. The 4 Vedas, the 18 Puranas, the 108 Upanishads, all written by Vyasadeva. But he is saying, but relish the Bhagavatam. Forget that. This is the best of it. So even after writing the Vedanta Sutra, he says Bhagavatam. So he was so disturbed, he was so frustrated and so sad that he said, I'm not feeling satisfied after writing all these things. And then Narad Muni comes and says, that's because you haven't glorified Krishna. So when he wrote the Bhagavatam, then he felt so happy. So he's telling us, look, forget that. No, I mean, that's there, but relish this, because this is so sweet. This is so sweet. But for whom it is meant? So it is said, Muhuraho rasika bhuvi bhavukaha. Who is it meant for? All this is meant for whom? Rasika bhuvi bhavukaha. It is meant for those who are thoughtful, the rasik, the humorous, the transcendental humorous, or the enjoyers, people who can enjoy or relish this, the rasik people. And it is also giving you the five primary rasas and the 7 secondary rasas. It gives you the knowledge of your interaction or your relationship with Krishna. So the 5 primary rasas Prabhupada has given in the purport also is Shanta, Dasya, Sakhya, Vatsalya and Madhurya. Madhurya being the highest. And the other ones is Hasya, laughter, Adbhut, wonder, Veer, chivalry, Karuna, feeling, pathetic or, very, Karunamay, yeah? Raudra, anger, Bhivatsa, disaster. And what is this? Fearfulness, bhaya. Yeah. So actually this is the third one which I did not, so I'm going to just chant this. Maybe I can go here and chant it. Okay, I'll chant it here. This is the third one which I did actually. Nigama kalpataror galitam phalam shukhamukhadamrita dravasam yutam pibata bhagavatam rasamalayam muhuraho rasika bhuvi bhavukaha. So this third verse is the invitation to relish it. Why? Because you have heard it and you are pious. You're doing dharma, artha and kama to attain moksha. So therefore, here Vyasadeva is inviting you. Come, relish it. Why? Because you need to establish this relationship, the rasas, the mellows. Yeah? Before we go, I just want to show you one slide. If you have any questions, please let me know. Yeah. So, Srimad Bhagavatam is the Lord himself, right? Bhagavatam is an incarnation of Krishna. So the first 2 cantos are his lotus feet. Maybe I'll make it a little larger. Can you all see this now? First 2 cantos are his lotus feet. 3rd and 4th are his thighs. 5th canto his navel. 6th his chest. 7th arms. 8th arms. 9th throat. 10th is the lotus face. 11th the forehead and 12th the head. So this will come in the 2nd canto. We will learn it in the 2nd canto. So we are starting, of course, with the lotus feet. So this is how you take darshan also when you go to the temple. When you go in front of the Lord, basically you're supposed to take darshan of the Lord from his lotus feet, then up to the navel, chest, then his face. What we do, हम लोग जाके खड़े हो जाते हैं. We look at his face and we come back, right? Because his face is so beautiful, we are attracted by his face. But try to always take shelter of the lotus feet first, because that's where the mercy is. And then go up. And another etiquette is you have to glorify the Lord. When you have darshan of the Lord, you have to glorify him. You have to And how does the Lord like to be glorified? Is by not directly, oh Krishna, you're so beautiful. Oh Krishna, you're so merciful. But he likes to be glorified through relationships. Oh Yashoda Nandan. Oh Radha Shyam Sundar. So when you take a relationship, then he says, acha, you're taking my mother's name. You're taking Radha's name. Oh, then he looks at you. You take his name, he says, I have no interest in you. You don't know anything about me. So you start from the lotus feet, and that's how. So even in Bhagavatam, we take darshan of the Lord from his lotus feet. So first and second canto are his lotus feet. Yeah, so that's how we start. So these three verses is the Sambandha, Prayojana, Abhideya, and Prayojana. Right? So any questions? Everybody thinks that the first three verses of Bhagavatam is so difficult. Actually, it's not. It's very easy. Yeah, so try to memorize these three verses and it'll be nice. Any questions?
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Actually, while reading it, it was seemingly difficult and थोड़ा bewildered feel हो रही थी. But after listening to you today, it definitely seems maybe more understandable, more relatable, easier. Actually,
Yes.
reading alone did not help, honestly.
That's true. That's the key. Key is always to read with someone. Yeah. That's why we have so much emphasis. I remember someone, when I was in India, someone said, Arey, you ISKCON people always talk about, sadhu sangha, always talk about read in sadhu sangha. I said, if you don't have sangha, then how will you, progress? Because where do you go for clearing your doubts? And doubts, there is a verse also in Bhagavatam. If I find out, I'll tell you next time how it makes a knot in your heart. Srimad Bhagavatam actually gives a verse which says that a doubt creates a knot in your heart, and that knot, unless and until it is not opened, you cannot progress in your spiritual life. So that person was saying me, sadhu sangha, kyun? Why can't I just sit at home and read? There are 12 cantos, there's 18 books. I'll just read it. I said, okay, but then how will you understand it? No? Whatever suits. Yeah, that's so true, Anjali. That's mother. That's really good. Anything else? Any other doubt? Either you understood everything or you understood nothing. If there are no questions, then that's it. Yeah. Okay. So, okay. So who's going to glorify next week? Anyone has?
I will put up the sequence of the ladies on the group
Okay. Okay. Perfect. So,
accordingly and
yeah.
give them a reminder during the week also.
Okay. So for next week, what you will do is we will. 1 minute. Yeah. So next week, we will do 4 to 8, verses 4 to 8. Yeah. So 4 to 8 talks about, this is setting the scene for the sages. Now, the sages in Naimisharanya are going to ask questions to Sutta Goswami. So 4 to 8 sets the scene for that and also talks about the qualities of a person who's speaking, right? And who's listening also. So verses 4 to 8, if you can read it up and come, it'll be nice. Then, we can have a discussion, conversation. Yeah.
One question, Mataji. We say na sambandh par abhideya and prayojan. So we link it with the deities also, na? Like Madan Mohan ji with Sambandh.
Yes.
So we pray Madan Mohan ji for having our relationship with Krishna strong. And can you explain that, please?
Okay, so there are these three primary deities of Vrindavan, which come under Sambandha, Abhideya, and Prayojana. So you know the great grandson of Krishna was Vajrana, and Vajrana he established a lot of temples in Vrindavan, Mathura area, a lot of temples, and he created these deities. So the only person who was alive at that time was Uttara. So he made three deities. One was Radha Madan Mohan, one was Radha Govinda, which is Abhideya, and Radha Gopinath, which is Prayojana. So when Uttara was the only one alive who had seen Krishna. No one else had seen Krishna, right? So Uttara was alive at that time. So he took these deities which he had made to her and said, do they look like Krishna? So when she saw Radha Madan Mohan, she said that the lotus feet are exactly like Krishna's. Then when she saw Radha Govinda, she said, oh, the torso, the mid portion is exactly like Krishna. And when she saw the face of Radha Gopinath, she said, oh, the face is exactly like Krishna. So therefore, the Goswamis of Vrindavan, Radha Madan Mohan was worshipped by Sanatan Goswami, Radha Govinda by Rupa Goswami, and Radha Gopinath by whom? Vishaka Mataji, any idea?
No, Mataji.
Rupa
I'm
Swami.
forgetting.
I think it's Loknath Goswami.
Okay.
I'm not sure. Anyway, one of the Goswamis. And they established that because it's the lotus feet, that is the Sambandha. So when we start right at the lotus feet. Because unless and until you don't have the humility to fall at Krishna's feet, you cannot progress. You have to take shelter. You are a das, anudas. Then as your devotional process, your sadhana increases, then you start taking more darshan. So then you come up to his torso, which is Radha Govinda. Abhideya is the process. And then Prayojana, you then reach your goal. What is your goal? Krishna, his beautiful face, the relationship you have with him. So whatever relationship, whatever rasa you are in, you will see him in that with those eyes. If you are as a Sakhya, you will see him as your master. If you're a friend, if you're one of the Gopas, along with Madhu Mangal and Arjun and all his Sakhas, you will see him as a friend. And if you are the Gopis, then you will see him as your lover. If you're a Vatsalya, you will see him as your baby boy. That what he will reveal. So that's why those are the three, Goswami says, those are the three deities. So when you establish your Sambandha, you worship Radha Madana Mohan more fervently and ask him for mercy. So there are prayers also according to each Sambandh. Jayatam Surator Pangur Mama Manda Mater Gati Mat Sarvasva Padam Bojo Radha Madana Mohana. That's for Sambandh. Mama Manda Mater Gati. My mata is Manda Mata. Manda Buddhi. I'm extremely foolish. I don't have any knowledge. I'm falling at your feet, Radha Madan Mohan. Please, Radha Madana Mohana, please take me under your shelter. And then Radha Govinda's Divyat Vrindaranya Kalpadrumadaha Shriman Ratnangara Simhasanam Stho Srila Radha Shriman Radha Srila Govinda Deva Prishtabhihi Sevya Manav Smarami. In the forest which is full of beautiful creepers of flowers and vines, in the midst of that, decorated by the Sakhis, is a golden throne on which sit the divine couple, Radha Govinda. And I worship that form of Radha Govinda. And Gopinath, of course, is Shriman Rasa Rasarambi. He's the Rasa Rasarambi. Vamshi Vata Tata Sthita Kashan Venu Swaner Gopi Gopinatha Shriyastana. So that Gopinath who did Rasa Leela with his gopis, that is the Abhideya, Radha Gopinath. So we must always take darshan and follow the mood of the Goswamis. That's why we say that Das, Das, Anudas. So we follow the Goswamis and we follow. Anu means to follow. Anu also means small, but here Anu means to follow. So we are Rupa Nugas, right? So we follow Rupa Goswami. It doesn't mean that we ignore all the other Goswamis. No, we don't. But yes, we have to follow in their teachings. How? Srila Prabhupada has given all the teachings in his purports. If you read it carefully, you will see him mentioning Sanatan Goswami or any other Goswami or any of the Acharyas in all of his purports. So when they say something, we should follow it. We should try to take the essence and follow it. And we must make sure that we live to it. We live to follow it. Because if you want to progress, the only way is to do it with determination, because Maya is very strong. So it's easy for us. We just have to follow instructions. So these are the three. Nice, very nice question. Beautiful.
Thank you, Mataji.
Yeah. So anything else? Vishaka Mataji? Are we okay to stop today?
Yeah, thank you so much, Mataji.
Thank you, Mataji.
I'm sorry I missed the first part, so I don't know whether you had asked everybody to read and I think note down the salient points or something like that.
Anjali did show her gratitude today, which was very, very beautiful. Maybe if you missed that, you can ask her to repeat it in one of your other classes or now again if you want to.
Is it recorded, Vinu? Okay,
Yes.
thank God.
And it's very, very nice because gratitude is something we must all have. And yes, I hope you all have made notes. And I did see all of them making notes. So yeah.
Mataji, you mentioned 5 kinds of liberation. What is this?
So this is Sayujya,
Yes.
Sarupya, Sarshti, Salokya, and Samipya. So these are the 5 kinds of liberation Krishna gives us according to what process we follow. Hare Krishna Bhaji. Yeah. So this is mentioned in the 3rd canto. If you do a Google search, you'll find it. Yeah, so these are the 5 kinds of liberation, out of which Sayujya is something we don't even look at. You know, it is a complete nonsense for us devotees because it is impersonal. It's merging. Sayujya means merging with the Brahman, which we don't even consider, we don't entertain at all. This is for impersonals. But he mentions that because there are 3 features of the Lord, right? Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagwan. And from Bhagwan comes Paramatma. From Paramatma is the effulgence. So if there is no form, where is the effulgence? But the Mayavadis say that from the effulgence come a form, which is twisted learning. And Shivram Swami Maharaj said once in Damodar Desh in Dubai, someone had asked him, what is the result? Where do these people, what is the result, or what result do they get by thinking in this way? Shivram Swami didn't even bat an eyelid. He said they go straight to hell. You know, so we don't even entertain that Sayujya. It is just for us to learn, that's all. But the other 4, yes. But as devotees, we don't want all these things, right? We just want a loving relationship. In our heart, yes, probably we want to go to his planet, go to Golok Vrindavan, but the ulterior motive is to serve him in some relationship. Not that we want his form or we want the opulence. We don't. Like Dhruva Maharaj, when he got more opulence than even Lord Brahma, he said, I don't want it. Krishna said, no, you have to have it because you have the desire. So I have to give it to you and you have to, go through it. So that's how.
Thank you, Mataji.
Okay. That's it? Yes. All clear? Okay, so let's just chant Hare Krishna once and then Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.
Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare.
Hare. Thank you, everyone. Thank you. Hare
Thank
Krishna.
you, Mataji.
Thank you, Supriya Mataji, for your time and effort and beautiful rendition.
Thank you for the
Our obeisance,
Thank
please.
you.
Vancha kalpatarubhyascha sudha evacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo.
Hare
Okay.
Krishna Mataji. So much.
Hare.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare